both. It can print both, or it can print a blank line there possibly. Christmas cards, Christmas labels are something that's all kind of interesting. To be honest, what I do is, I did this for a couple of clients, is you want to have a wreath or you want to have something else on it. I'll go into Pages and create a template there for the labels, and I can make a nice wreath or anything like that. And then you can actually merge the addresses so simply from Address Book to Pages, and you can just do it there. Pages is great. It's part of iWork. We're on iWork 09. We anticipate that there's going to be an announcement very soon, because I think the new Pages in Keynote and Numbers, which is iWork 11 or 12, it'll probably be 12, will be all integrated with iCloud, because that way you can work on your documents on your iPhone, your iPad, or your computer, and they're all the same. So good point on that, and it is a little bit tricky. To be honest, there's other programs, like if you're doing Christmas labels and stuff, Avery makes a label program and you can export your things back and forth. There are some tricks to that. Maybe what we'll do is I'll plan on doing a class around the holidays to do labels, how to send DVDs to people, and those kinds of things. We'll do a Christmas special on how you can get stuff out. Does that sound good? Yeah. All right. So the next thing is we want to be able to make groups. So let's think about this a second. We all have somebody that mails us jokes, and you want to forward those to 6 different people. Well, we can make a joke group. Let's say you want to make a family group. Groups we need to add on, just like we do in these other programs like iTunes and iPhoto, is this other little plus button at the bottom on the far left is add a group. So I'm going to add a group, and we're just going to call this test. And I'm going to add another group, and we'll call it test 2, because I'm really creative. I always use test because I know I can delete it really easy. By the way, this isn't my normal database, because I have 1,100 addresses in my address book. So, and they're varied, and so I have them. When you have that many, you really need to have groups, because I want to cull it down to what I can actually use. So all contacts is everybody that's in your book. Test, let's say, I'm going to take Bob. I'm holding down the Command key, and I'm going to select multiple things. There's 4 cards. I'm going to drag that to test. I'm also going to drag it to test 2 so I have it. So now when I click on test, there's the 4 people, right? Well, let's do this. Let's go back and try to drag demo in there again.
Excuse me, which keys did you hold down?
Okay, this is a little keystroke thing here that's a great time saver. I could drag each one individually, but if I want to, first I click on one item, and then I hold down the Command or Apple key, and I can select multiple items. This applies to iPhoto. This applies to all your files. This applies everywhere. So your Command key allows you to select multiple things. But now I've got my little list. I let go of the Command key. I go, oh, you know what? I don't want Bob to, or I don't want demo. So I hold my Command key again, and if I click on demo again, it toggles it off. So holding Command and clicking toggles it on and toggles it off. Like that. So I'm going to show you another trick, and this to me is worth its weight in gold. If I click on one item and hold the Shift key, it selects contiguous items. Okay? Contiguous. But let's say it's the same case and I don't want demo to be there. I let go of everything and I come back and hold Command, and now I click demo and it deselects it. So Command click is select, deselect. Shift click selects contiguous items. In other words, if you click on the first one or the third one of 30 and you click on the 27th, you hold Shift and hit the 27th, it'll select all of those items. This works really well for moving files, for selecting photos, like an iPhoto if you're going to make a new album or something like that. So those key commands are really good. So back to the point here, I have these 4 people in my test one, and I'm going to take and drag demo again to test. See the little green plus sign means I'm adding it to it, but look at that, I don't have demo there twice. It won't let you add duplicates to a group. It says I'm already there. So you can add all you want, but it won't let you do it. Now, I did move him to demo, and let's say I don't want demo in there. I simply highlight demo and hit my delete key. Now, here's this sign that comes up. Do I want to delete the card for demo or remove it from the group test? So the question here is, do I just want to take it out of that group, or do I really want to delete the card in its entirety? Usually, and the default one is, I just want to remove it from the group because I don't want it to be taken away. Okay? So now it's one less. I'm going to go do one other thing. We go back. So that's groups, and you can put multiple people in groups. But the beauty of groups is when I go to mail, like we talked about a joke, let's say. So if I hit new message, first of all, if you're mailing to a lot of people, you should use BCC, blind carbon copy, because that way you don't get this long list so everybody can find out their addresses. Use BCC. If your BCC, your Mac comes with BCC not enabled. Just go down here and click on BCC. So now I don't have to pick every person. I can type test, and look at what happens. I type test, and it automatically fills. It knows I have a group called test, so when I hit return, there's the 2 people that were in the group. Ah, there were more than 2 people in the group, though, weren't there? Let's go back and look. In our thing, there are 3 people. Well, why aren't there 3? There's no email address for Bob, and I'm sending an email. So it doesn't put Bob in the group. Okay? So let's go back to our email. And it automatically fills these people out. The other thing you can do in email, which is really nice, is you'll notice this little address book icon. Click on it, and it's a read-only version of your address book. You cannot modify it. I can search in it. That's where the search is here. But what I can do here is I can drag specific people. And oh, you'll notice here it only shows the one with the email addresses, so I know who does and doesn't have an email address. So I can drag that email address over to here. I can highlight the name and hit to CCC or BCC, and that'll put it right in where it's supposed to go. But I can also take, for instance, test 2, and I can drag test 2 over there. So from that little mini address book, you can do whatever you want, and you can search within it. So that's why having your address book set up is really, really handy. We're not doing mail today, but go ahead.
So if you did that and did a BCC, do you leave the 2-line blank?
Yes. And what will happen is you'll say, well, who did I send it to? Well, in fact, it'll show the first person. But yes, the question was, great question. If you fill in BCC, do you leave the 2 and or the CCC blank or the CC blank? And yes, you do, because what it is think of BCC as 2, but it masks the other names. And what the deal is there is that if you put 12 people in 2, everybody sees everybody else's email address. On my roller hockey team, I let everybody see everybody else's email address. Actually, the MacNexus Board of Directors, when we email each other, we make sure that everybody's email is up there so we can instantly see who got it, and secondly, who we want to send to. But if you're sending out just random stuff, you use BCC, and then if there's 12 people on the list, no one sees anybody else that's on the list, and that's good for a couple reasons. First of all, it feels very personal to the person that's getting it. It's like, oh yeah, she sent this to 20 other people. How do I rate, you know? Well, in fact, it looks like it went just to them. And the one time you do want to do the fill-in, like is, let's say it's in family, and you want to email it to one person and you want to copy it to someone else, that would be so that they don't have to send the email to each and every one on it too, so they know. But if you're doing big lists and stuff, just use BCC. It's very good etiquette on the internet because it's, and you've all gotten them. I got one from business one time that had 143 different addresses on it, and I knew who my competitors were with that same business, and that's very, Not as a bad etiquette, it's very bad, but also that's how the spam bots can gather email addresses by doing them. So when you forward those that have a bunch of addresses on them, you're best to take and delete all those addresses, and then if you're sending it to somebody, use BCC. So it's just, it works better, and it's etiquette, but believe me, not everybody out there does it. Yes?
Repeat that one comment you just made, that's so important.
Which part?
Delete.
Yes. And I don't have one here, but you know, we've all gotten those where you've got, in fact, 4 different times you've got, and usually they say AOL.com on them, but anyway, or Hotmail, but you get those. When you get that email and you forward it to someone, you can delete that whole top header that has a harvesting fact of a whole bunch of email addresses. Okay? I'm curious. Sometimes I look at those and see who's who and stuff, but you know what? It's just really bad. Because what if that email got sent to someone that was a spammer? Then they get paid for so many email addresses and stuff like that. Why make it easy for them? There's too many other ways for them to get it. Go right ahead.
I found another way to do that too. Is you can actually highlight what you want to forward.
Yes.
Send mail, and then click forward. Only that highlighted is
and forward and reply. And I'll give you this since we're not on mail, but I'll point this out because these are really good and these are important for us, and we're going to have enough time. So if I highlight this much stuff, well, first off, let's talk about delete. So if let's say I'm gonna forward this message I've got here, I would go down here and just start highlighting that and hit delete. So I've gotten rid of all those addresses up there. In this case, I want to highlight. This is all I want to forward or reply to, okay? Normally when you reply, of course, or forward, it quotes the whole message, which is very good when you're having an email dialogue with someone. You can always go back over the whole scenario, what happened, because like me, I get over 100 emails a day. It's better if it's referenced to another email that I've gotten. So in this case, you highlight it and you say forward, only what was highlighted goes to that. So there's 2 ways to do it. Delete it and forward it, or go back. And the other thing I'll point out is many times look at your email, because if there is a photo or something attached to it, a lot of times that doesn't go to it. So just make sure, because you say, hey, look at this cool photo, and they're going, what photo? So it depends on how email handles that. All right. Thank you for the mention on that. That was very important and good. All right, we're going back out of mail, back to address book. So again, I see people going like this on their computers to, well, let's move this out of the way so we can go back to address book and stuff. No, you don't need to do that. You know, your mail's up. Don't hit the red dot that doesn't quit mail. It doesn't get rid of it. If you really feel like you have to, you can hit the yellow dot, and I'll show you in slow motion. It goes down to the dock, and it's there waiting for you. You could click on it again. But the best thing is you can just go over here to address book, and if I hit address book, now it's what's in front. I didn't have to get rid of mail. If you feel like you have to get rid of mail, get used to the keyboard combination, and remember all our keyboard combinations are right up here on our cheat sheet, and you can just say hide mail or command H, and it just hid mail. Mail's still running, it's still checking your mail and doing everything else for you. I have 2 screens, so I always have my mail up on my second screen. It just works for me that way. Okay, back in address book, we've done the groups. I can delete a group too if I want. For instance, test 2 here. I can just hit that and I'm deleting the whole group. But the cards only got deleted as the group. It didn't go delete them from the main library of all contacts. Okay.
Question.
Yes, sorry.
There's about 8 to 10 standard fields that pop up when you add a new account.
Right.
Can you change that standard so if you want to set up a custom list for a specific purpose?
Additional fields or naming the fields?
Additional fields.
Okay.
So you might want to have 15 fields for a specific.
Okay, it's limited in some respects, and I'll go back in. It's in the template, and it's in preferences, and we add fields. These are the only additional ones that are here besides the ones that I've already activated. So if you need, you can. The fields are specific to dates, numbers, email addresses, and AIM name, and then of course the big notes field. Now, you can trick this to be more of a contact resource manager. Let's say I want to let's say I want to put the word